Hey friends, all right, we are looking at the Lumibricks ORE Factory, set number L9101, 3,138 pieces. And we're going to look, in this video, we're going to look at the parts, the part bags, some of the specialized parts. We'll look at the lighting kit, and we'll take a look at the instructions too. And in a separate video, I'll have built it and we'll do a full review of it. But this video is just the unboxing. So starting with the box, I've already taken everything out, of course. So this is the empty box, and what you're seeing here is a steampunk themed ore factory. And up in the front of this here, you'll see there's a train track, and there are at least 6 characters in this. And sometimes they name the characters here. I don't think they're named at all. And there's a lot of stuff going on here. Visually, it's a little bit, takes a little bit of time to unpack. But as far as I can tell, there is one structure here. Then there is a separate structure here, and it may actually be a 2-story structure. Then there is a conveyor belt that runs along the backside here, and there's another conveyor belt that runs inside this structure. And then on top of that, there is a small section of roller coaster track that runs between these 2 buildings and then along the back. And so I believe the idea is that a train pulls up with raw ore, and then it's loaded onto the mine cart. The mine cart moves it to the back here, and it is put on a conveyor belt that takes it up and then through some sort of refinement process, then through another conveyor belt that's inside this larger building. So that is my understanding of what is happening with this. And it mentions the conveyor belt here, mentions a mechanical claw. And that is the other thing, is there is a claw up here that you can turn a knob on the other side here, and it will move this arm up and down. I don't think it actually claws anything. It just moves this up and down, and there's 2 parts to that sphere. So it moves the top half of that sphere up so that it can reveal what's inside. And based on the story that I can understand in the instructions, this character here is creating very specialized crystals that are used to power everything in the Lumibricks steampunk world. Everything from steamships to trains, they all run on his specialized crystals. And so what he's creating here are those special crystals, and this is the key to the success of this steampunk world, is being able to control those. As usual, everything has lights. It's custom lit. So when you see lights in here, they are specially made just for this set. And it says here, nothing moves without crystal power. So that's part of explaining it. The side of the box here says, "The owl sees what we dare not." So the owl is definitely a character in this set, and I think we brick built him too. So here he is. That's the owl. So I don't know what that is. Maybe you can think of that as a mechanical autonomon. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to say the word. And he's there he's a mechanical owl that has autonomy and can also perhaps maybe he's even a sage in this particular set. Here you get a look at what it looks like without the lights on in the daytime, and here's a look with the lights on maybe in the evening. And they've done a pretty good job actually here putting photography in, so you can kind of see where this would be situated along with the track. It only has this short section of track, but I'm expecting it to be Lego compatible. And Lumibricks was kind enough to send me this set, which is the steampunk train. It's actually called Steampunk Ore Train. So I'm guessing that this is supposed to go on that track that we see there. So I'll unbox and we'll build this separately too. All right, so let's look at the parts. You've got all these bags. They're bags 1 through 16, so several bags. 1, These are 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. on and on and on. And so as far as the parts go, they are Lego compatible, and they use familiar parts, colors, shapes. You see some Technic pieces in here as well. There's some nice silver pieces. Here and there, Lumibricks does have its own parts that they make, but they're usually just minor adjustments to Lego's parts. Like here's one example, this upside down curved slope. Lumibricks has their own version of it that has some grooves in it, and it's rounded on the top. So that's different. All the pieces are printed, of course. Lumibricks sets to date do not include any stickers, so it's really nice to have them all printed. Everything is printed. There's one whole bag here of masonry bricks. So 1x2s and 1x4s in dark gray. And on some Lumibricks sets, I've seen that they've done a dark gray, a light gray, and then a very light gray. I don't see that happening here, and I'm glad. I think we'll get a little bit of fatigue from the two main colors in the set are the nougat brown and then the gray. So I'm thankful that they didn't introduce yet another gray. I think that would have been too much. We do see a little bit of gold here and there. Oh, this is printed. It says ORE Factory is what that says. So I think that is this sign right there at the top. What else we got in here? Oh, we have some dark green. That's nice. I think maybe that's for the secondary building. It has that dark green. Girders. This is a fascinating set because I don't know what I'm building. You know, when you build a pet shop or a toy store, you know what you're building. You're building a floor, and then you build another floor on top of it, and you build interiors, and there's stairs. And so you kind of know the recipe. But here, I have no idea what this is. So if you're a fan of greebling and obviously steampunk and just kind of discovering a new world, I think this is going to be enjoyable for you because you're diving into that world. And it's clear that Lumibricks has thought through the lore and what this is all about. And they've thought through how this ORE factory functions and what all the parts are for, what all the components do. So I'm glad that they really do a deep dive typically into the subject matter, and they've thought it through. They've tried to come up with a story that is convincing, that makes sense within the narrative they're trying to create with their sets. So very cool. And then we've got this 2 bags of S parts. So a lot of 16x16s, a lot of these guys, these industrial floor plates, 16x8s, and then how many sections of railroad track? I think it's 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, I think it's 4, 5. I can't quite tell, but it comes with enough that runs the length of it in the front. And then of course we've got our lighting kit. And oh, before we get to the lighting kit, we do get some hoses, and I think that's a string. That string is probably used for the lifting arm. Oh, before we get to the lighting kit, we also got a pack of the figures. So we counted 6 figures, and with Lumibricks, you have to put the hands into the arms into the torsos, the legs into the hips, and the hips into the body. So you need to do quite a bit with those. The first time you do it might be kind of hard, but I don't think you're buying this as your first Lumibricks set. So you'll probably know what you're doing. This one does have a couple figures in it too, but these are all of your specialized parts, usually special parts for routing your wiring. And then a separate bag also for those specialized wiring parts. And then as far as the wiring kit goes, you get 3 bags in here. They're numbered. You get a battery box. You get metal tweezers. You get screwdriver, and that screwdriver is for the battery box. It's not for anything else. And then as usual, the tweezers are metal and they're matte black, very nice. And they're there to help you with just getting those connectors in and out of the hubs, and also for other uses, like if you just need to grab something super tiny. Here's a sample of some of the wires that are inside these bags. And these bags are actually just chock full of the custom wiring. And we'll look at in the instructions here what to expect with the wiring. All right, so let's take a closer look at the instructions. All right, so here are the instruction books. There's two of them. They are thick. I should mention this is the biggest Lumibricks set I've ever acquired. 3,000 pieces, more than 3,000 pieces. The biggest one I've built so far is around 2,500. So this will be a challenge, a fun one for me. I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, based on the size of the books, I'm like, whoa, I'm in for a lot of fun over many, many nights. As usual, QR code so you can build using PDFs if you prefer. And the books have nice matte finish. They open up with some pretty nice art inside. You get another picture of our special owl. Another angle look at this at the front of the set. Here you can see the front of that mine car that is on the railroad track. And then here's the interior, I think, of the main building. And then here we've got one of our other figures, and he's got a very kind of like alchemist look to him. So maybe he's the one who works the magic, and then this is the guy who provides the money. I think maybe that's what's going on. They also show here, if this is the front of where the train is, then these mine cars take the ore all the way over to here so that they can start going up the conveyor belt. And then from there, they drop down and there's another conveyor belt. So I think that's the whole process that we're seeing. And by the time they're in here, they're now in that main building, which is gated. So I'm assuming that the final products of the crystals are secured inside that main building. So I think that's what's happening there. Here's a look at the lighting parts that you get. So bag one has all of those. Quite a few lighting elements. You get the 2x2 round plates as well as 1x1 studs. There is a USB connector. This is probably a hub, and it's a big one. There's another one down here, and I think that is also yet another hub, or potentially it's some sort of controller. I don't know. I've seen that before, but I haven't built one with that yet. And then same in bag two, a lot of those pieces as well. Something a little bit different here. This looks like it's a connector of some kind. It almost looks like there's a switch on it. So look forward to finding out what that is. But yeah, ambitious, a lot of lights. And as usual, up front, they tell you to test the lights. I think that's super smart because you don't want to wire everything in. Here they are saying, hey, test everything, please. You don't want to wire everything in and then find out that there's a problem. And I have had issues with things that I needed replacement parts for, and they responded within about 2-3 days. And they were really friendly and put stuff in the mail. They confirmed that they were sending it. So it was really nice. Here's a nice isometric illustration of what you're getting. So you get a better sense for what you're building, how that conveyor belt moves. And by the way, the conveyor belts are all manual, so you use your hand to crank them. However, I did notice that with this conveyor belt, it looks like it's set up so that you could add your own power functions motor to it if you wanted to. So I'm kind of thinking that's what that is. All right, and then starting with the first bag, you know, you build out the entire base. Looks like you start the foundation of that conveyor belt there and the foundation of the secondary building. As usual, Lumibricks does both isometric views as well as top-down so that you can have very firm confirmation that you're putting things in the right place. They highlight the new steps or the new parts in red, so you know what to focus on. So that's us going through that. Let's see. Well, it looks like we're building one of the conveyor belts here. It's nice. And there's already some lighting. Looks like there's lighting in that conveyor belt. That's cool. And then, as typical, Lumibricks gives you information about how to route the wiring, and that's always helpful. So that you don't trap the wiring somewhere, or you don't end up essentially painting yourself into a corner. You don't want that to happen. Here's a look at the inside of that main building. So yeah, definitely this is where those crystals are being created, and then they're being stored as well. And oh, it looks like the whole side of that is open. I did notice that the other side has a whole panel that opens up so that you can see it. And that conveyor belt does have a tiny gear, so you can turn and make that thing move. Lots of brown. Let's keep going. Oh, find some. I think this might be the alchemist's room. So maybe that he gets his own shop. I'm not sure if we're looking at the secondary building, or maybe this is a second floor of the main building. I'm not entirely sure. I like this really big piece there. You're discovering this as I am, my friends, because like I said, I'm not sure what I'm building. It's hard to tell. Okay, so everything that you saw there is the secondary building. So maybe the guy who I'm calling the alchemist, the mysterious hooded alchemist, maybe he gets his own workshop. He is the mad scientist that is getting funded by the tycoon dude. All right, and here's a little stopper for the minecart as it goes. And that's where you put that little piece. That's interesting. Must have a lot of wires going to it. Oh, no, that's not a permanent location. That was just for placement. All right, here's a look at the back side, which is a little bit rare. So that does have maybe a roof here for the secondary building. Big turbine. Got to get the exhaust out of there. And then here's the track making its way around. Good use of girders. A lot of mechanical. I know some friends who would love all the mechanical aspects of this. And then you build the roof, and it looks like that's last is the roof. All right, and then getting into the second book. By now we're on bag 9. And we're looking at, okay, some pins, some axles, get those in place. Oh, look at that. There is an axle with a knob running all the way through. Where does that go? What does it do? Like I said, this set is mysterious. I don't know half of what's happening here. Is this the same? Okay, so this is the knob connected to this axle running to the back. Why? Please turn. Okay, so it's asking you, make sure that everything is turning correctly. So check it. So in case you made everything too tight, usually that's the main reason something won't turn right, is if you made it too tight. But I don't really see anything yet about what that turns. How fascinating. All right, more hiding of wires. Hide the wires. And by the way, the wires and stuff, hopefully you know, because you've built Lumibrick sets before, it's not complicated wiring. There's no soldering involved. It's all plug and play. They provide everything you need. All right, here's a better look at the conveyor belt that runs along the back. So it comes up, 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 up. But here's what I was talking about. I believe this is probably set at the height. That hand crank is probably set at the height that you could put your own motor in. All right, there's another look at the back end. And then here we see the 2 semispheres and how they're set up. There's another look at those semispheres. Yeah, I don't know what that thing was turning. I don't see where it goes. That's interesting. That'll be nice. I like sets that have surprises, and there's definitely going to be some surprises with this set. Okay, so you build some terrain to put the train tracks on. You build the owl kind of last, it looks like. And then there are a couple chimneys that we build. And those go where? Along the back of the primary building. Oops. Yeah, there we go. You can climb them up. Yeah, that's right. They go along this back side here. And then push part 1 in and wait for the magic to begin. What? Oh, I think that might be the power switch. You push a part in on the roof and then it turns the power on. I didn't see where the battery box goes, so maybe it's hidden in there and built into the structure and you can turn it on and off remotely. I'm not sure. And then it says here, please turn part 1 to start the conveyor belt. So this is one thing you turn, the conveyor belt goes. Oh, this is the battery box. I'm sorry. That's the battery box. So I don't know what they're saying by pushing the thing up at the top. I don't know what that is referring to. Here's an image of that wall being pulled off the side. And let's see what else we got here. And then once you pull that wall off, there is another conveyor belt. So you turn that knob in order to actuate the other conveyor belt. And then here's one more image, a good isometric image of everything that you get. All right, so that is the look. There's a lot there. I hope this was helpful to you if you're trying to decide if you want to buy this set. Consider this a teaser because you're not seeing the final model, and nor do I know everything about the final model. All I've done so far is understand what I'm seeing here at surface level, but there's definitely going to be surprises and things in store. So I'm going to build the thing next, and we'll review that in a separate video. Okay, thanks so much. If you liked the video, please hit like, and if you could subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Thanks so much.